So I want to talk to you about the spiritual moochers and the divine light within you, breaking free through a sacred alignment. There's a sacred glow within you. It's subtle and yet it is powerful. Not everyone can see it with their eyes, but they definitely feel it with your presence. This is called prana, chi, divine energy, or as many spiritual traditions like to call it, your aura or your light. You see, when you are aligned with Source, whether you call that God, Brahman, the Buddha nature, or the divine consciousness, you become a vessel for peace, compassion, and for power. And people, they're going to feel that. But where there is light, there's also shadows. Not everyone is drawn to your energy because they want to honor it. Not everyone is drawn to your energy because they want to uplift it. There are spiritual moochers. You heard me, spiritual moochers. Beings that sense your inner fire, but come not to kindle their own, but to warm themselves by yours until there's nothing left. This isn't just psychological, it is a spiritual karma. It is dharma disrupted. It's an energetic imbalance that must be healed, not only for your sake, but for theirs. And here's the truth, and this is across all spiritual platforms and traditions. The divine never gets it wrong, and he never leaves you unequipped. God, Brahman, the Buddha within, Sophia, Jesus, whoever it is you turn to, they will give you the tools to break free and to transcend every challenge. There's a reason people feel drawn to you. It's not your clothes, it's not your titles, it's not your accolades, it's your energy. The deep, glowing spiritual resonance that pours out of your spirit like sunlight through stained glass. Honor it, love it, respect it. People feel it, they crave it. Some honor it, but others, they take and they take and they take. They drain and they latch on. In this world of vibrations and frequencies, not everyone has your best interest at heart. Not everyone is tuning into your soul out of love. There are energy vampires everywhere, and they cloak themselves in friendship, need, and false intimacy. They attach themselves, but not to your heart, but to your light. And before you know it, you're left confused, tired, wondering why your spiritual gas tank is always on E. If you ever saw Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood, there's a line where he says, I put my straw in your milkshake, and I drank all your milkshake. God knows. God has equipped you with everything you need to break free, rise up, and conquer every challenge that comes across, because you are a bearer of divine light in a dim world. This is for the healers. This is for the givers. This is for the empaths. This is for the light workers. You know who you are. You feel deeply. You love wholly. And you know that your soul is not somebody's buffet. Okay? Let's get real. All right? You need to learn how to recognize the spiritual moochers and how God lovingly but powerfully leads you out of those traps and into your spiritual sovereignty, because you are blessed, you are chosen, and never forget that. In Hinduism, there's a concept called Tejas, spiritual radiance. It emanates from those who live with integrity, with purpose, with devotion. And I'm talking about you. In Hinduism, it's said that someone who practices mindfulness and compassion emits a very peaceful vibration that even the animals can sense. You might not chant mantras all day long, and you might not sit under a Bodhi tree. But if you live from the heart and you serve others and you seek peace, you will naturally become a spiritual beacon. People feel safer around you. Their anxiety softens in your presence because they know you are the one. Your words calm storms that they never even got a chance to tell you about. That's because your energy is connected to something higher, something greater, to the source, to the most high. And just as you are a burning bright flame, moths are drawn to those flames. Consciously or unconsciously, they gravitate to your light, and they want to consume it. They want to take it all. Have you ever walked into a room and felt every head looking at you without a word? Have you ever had people just open up to you, telling you things they never told anyone else? Do strangers seem to find comfort just being near you? That isn't your ego. That isn't you coming in there and just being like, I'm the man, I'm the woman. It's energy. When you walk in alignment with your higher self, when you're connected to God, when you're grounded in source, you're connected to spirit, you're full of compassion, you radiate something divine. And people feel safe in your presence. Your words heal, your touch comforts, your silence brings peace. and everybody wants a piece of that piece because you're a channel of divine love. But there are people out there who that magnetism comes with a bit of danger. Not everyone who comes near you is coming with pure intentions. Some are moochers, vessels looking to be filled, vampires looking to draw blood. They not part of your healing journey. They just want to drink your milkshake over and over again. And so you have to recognize in Buddhism, attachment is the root of suffering. Moochers are definitely attached. Not to you as a person, but to the comfort they feel in your presence. It's not you they love, it's what you possess. And when somebody is doing that to you, where they don't recognize you, but they are after what you got, that's where they're going wrong. That's the distortion of karma yoga. That's the distortion of selfless action. Those moochers want what you have without effort for themselves. That creates the imbalance, and the universe will not sustain that because they have to do their own work, they have to do their own healing, they have to do their own journey. These friends only reach out when they're in crisis. Your family members that want endless emotional support without accountability. When you need someone, are they there for you? When you have lovers who love your light but resent your boundaries, when you have clients, students, mentees who drain you and give nothing in return, they just take and take. They don't come with no gratitude. They come with expectation. They don't want your wisdom. They want your life force. And while compassion is important, and I'm not telling you don't be compassionate, you can forgive and you can wish people well. But compassion without boundaries is self-destruction. Get it right. Spiritual moochers, they will come for you. They're wounded souls who have yet to take responsibility for their own healing. For them, life is a party, and they're having fun and they're not doing the work. But they know you did the work, and they want that light. They constantly want to unload their trauma onto you without even giving you 2 seconds to ask, how are you doing? They seek your advice, but they don't implement it. They don't want your healing. They just want your attention. And when they crave that attention and gobble it up, they feel better. But they're not doing the work and they're not listening to you. And to be honest with you, they even envy or resent you when you shine too brightly. When you realize that you're putting in all this emotional labor, these people are coming to get free rides like you're the source of, just take and take and take. And it's toxic. It's toxic as heck. And you need to put your foot down and you need to not let them get away with it. Because their hunger is bottomless. And it's not your job to feed them. They must go to God as you have. But they go to you until your well runs dry. And they will leave you high and dry. And they won't even have an ounce of guilt about it. Don't pour endlessly into others without receiving. Don't disrupt your own chakras. Don't let your sacral chakra, your solar plexus chakra, your heart center become depleted. You lose your creativity. You become numb. You become the fig tree that bears no fruit. Not because you're in any way lazy, not at all, but they're draining you and they're taking away the energy you need to keep going. You don't want to be trapped in the wheel of samsara. You don't want to repeat the cycle of overgiving, burnout, guilt, and silence. In Hinduism, if you forget your Atman, your divine soul within, and you fall into Maya, the illusion that your worth is tied into how much others need you, you're going down the wrong path because that is not the measure of what you're worth. You are worth far more than that. God loves you, and God put you on this earth with talents. Even the bodhisattvas who vow to serve all sentient beings, they do it from a place of clarity, not from exhaustion. They don't allow themselves to be mooched. They don't allow themselves to become misaligned. You should never question your own worth. You should never second guess your own instincts. These people will have you up in your head, and they love it, and they'll do it all the day is long, but they will pretend like they care. You need to isolate yourself. You need to put up the boundaries because the weight is too heavy. That's not what God wanted for you. Isaiah 40:29 says, He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. You were never meant to be strong for everyone. That's not your job. You were meant to connect to God and be renewed constantly through God, not through the false intimacy of overextended relationships, but to connect truly with God, the divine, Sophia, all the different manifestations of the Most High, Olodumare. you need to call yourself back to alignment. In Christianity, God speaks in whispers. In Buddhism, truth arises in stillness. In Hinduism, the divine calls you inward towards the self that is untouched by ego or expectation, the highest version of you that's out there that you are being drawn towards every second, every minute. You don't want these people coming in and making you feel uneasy and making you feel guilty and making you feel like you did your best but you couldn't keep a relationship going. That's not negativity. To view those situations with an eye to realize this is not for you. That's discernment. In chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, do your duty and do not concern yourself with the outcome. So when you feel the call to withdraw your energy, it's not selfish, it's sacred. That's what setting boundaries is when you're on a different level. These boundaries aren't walls, they're rituals of protection. They're the way you honor the divine within you, the Buddha nature in your heart, the Shakti flowing through your veins. Consider that in Buddhism you practice metta, that loving kindness from a distance. You can wish people well without letting them take you for everything you got. Especially when they come around and you know they wouldn't do for you, but they want you to do for them. In Hinduism, you invoke the Durga, the goddess who rides like a lion and defeats the demons, not through cruelty, but through a place of loving divine strength. In Christianity, you remember that even Jesus withdrew from the crowds to pray. Solitude isn't selfish, it's spiritual maintenance. And you need to look out for yourself, and that's not a selfish thing. Everyone thinks that somehow the path to godliness is to just sacrifice yourself for everyone and everything. That's not. And those are just people manipulating your compassion. Guilt is not a divine emotion. It is the ego's way of resisting change. In the Buddhist Dhammapada, it is written, you yourself must strive. The Buddhas only point the way. You cannot walk someone else's path for them. They have to do it for themselves. You can only light your own and be an example. In the Bible, Galatians 6:5 says, each one should carry their own load. That doesn't mean you stop helping people. I help people every day. But you help with wisdom, not martyrdom. God doesn't want you bound to spiritual moochers. That's not love. That's enslavement masquerading as compassion. And you know better than that. There comes a moment when God starts tugging at your spirit, whispering, it is time to let go, baby. It's time to let go. And it might hurt, because some of these people you've carried for years, you truly love them. But they don't love you the way you love them. And you just saw their wounds, and you came from a place of trauma love. And trauma love is just not real love. You can still feel for them and wish them well, but when you get dragged into the trauma and the patterns that become toxic and cyclical, that's where you gotta stop doing the giving and get none of the grace. No, you don't do that. The friend who only calls you when they're in crisis, no, you don't do that. The group chat where your soul feels smaller every time you speak because they're making you feel like you're the one being selfish, hell no. Hell no. The spiritual leader who uses guilt to keep you loyal, that's a trap. That's a cult. God gives you discernment, inner knowing, that gut tug, that divine nudge that says this isn't love, this is theft, this is conversion, this is fraud. And when you listen, you stop rationalizing the behavior and you stop honoring your spirit. And God, the divine, opens the doors. You're in divine alignment. You're rising with God. You're feeling the Dharma and you're in the Buddha mind. Because you release these energy moochers for who they are. You reset those spiritual boundaries. Something magical happens. You feel light again. You feel creative again. The weight is off you. These people that were trying to ride on your back without so much as a thank you, later for that. You reconnect with your inner guide. Whether you call that the Holy Spirit, the voice of Krishna, the presence of your ancestors, the deep stillness of your Buddha mind, your Godhead. You step back into your true nature as a child of God, worthy of rest and renewal, as a soul on the path of moksha, freedom from the cycles of spiritual servitude that you didn't deserve, as a conscious being walking the middle way, balanced and definitely awake. And from that place, you begin to attract other aligned souls, not the moochers, the mirrors, people who are at your level, people who reflect your growth. honor your energy and walk with you, not behind you, not dependent on you, but beside you, because they have your back, not like these moochers, not like these vampires. And so you have the sacred duty to protect your light. Walking away isn't easy. Moochers will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll weaponize your compassion against you, making you feel guilty all the while, but you don't need to feel guilty for not 1 millisecond. God led you out of that spiritual bondage because God knows no human opinion can hold you back. You might feel alone for a season, but solitude isn't punishment. It's preparation because God refills you. He reminds you of your worth. He sends you real, aligned souls into your life. People who don't just take, but pour back. People that are at your level who do not bring you down. He arms you with new strength. Psalm 18:29 says, with your help, I can advance against the truth. With my God, I can scale a wall. That means you will rise to the challenge. Emotional, spiritual, psychological, and nothing can hold you back, especially not these moochers and these vampires. You move away from the loneliness, you move away from the fear, you move away from the guilt. The past mistakes will not hold you back. You are a conqueror. You have no need to over explain your decisions. You have no need to put others' needs above your own. You have no need to feel guilt keeping you trapped to trauma bonds. You have no need to mire yourself in the spiritual exhaustion that kept you from your own purpose. Everyone else did a come up on you. But when was it your time to shine? So you fight harder because you surrender. You surrender to the divine. There's a verse in the Upanishads that says, from joy we have come, in joy we live, and unto joy we shall return. You weren't created to be somebody's milkshake to be drained. You were created to radiate. You were created to watch the spiritual moochers come and go. You recognize them for who they are, and you wish them well. You bless them, and you release them. You let them go because they don't need to be around you. Your energy is sacred. It's not a buffet. It's not a convenience. Your compassion is not an obligation. Your boundaries are divine architecture, protecting the temple of your very soul. And don't you let these people gaslight you. And you walk forward knowing God is with you. The Krishna rides with you. The Buddha's peace surrounds you. You are not alone. The divine is there with you every step of the way, and you are aligned. And my friends, you are ascending. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.